के काज समारे,
लायस
जीवन लखन जियाए। श्री रघुवीर हरषि उर लाए, रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बढ़ाई। तुम मम प्रिय भरतहि सम भाई, सहस बदन तुम रोजस गावे। अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे, सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा, नारद सारद सहित अहिसा। जम कुबेर दिगपाल जहाते, कवि कोविद कहि सके कहाते।
तुम उपकार
सुग्रीवहि कीन्हा, राम मिलाय राजपद दीन्हा। तुम्हरो मंत्र विभीषण माना, लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना। जुग सहस्र जो जन पर भानु, लील्यो ताहि मधुर फल जानु। प्रभु मुद्रिका मेलि मुख माहि, जलधि लांघि गए अचरज नाहि। दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते, सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हरे तेते। राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे, होतन आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे।
सब सुख
लहै तुम्हारी सरना, तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना। आपन तेज समारो आपे, तीनों लोक हांकते कापे। भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे, महावीर जब नाम सुनावे। नासै रोग हरै सब पीरा, जपत निरंतर हनुमत बीरा। संकट से हनुमान छुड़ावे, मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावे। सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा, तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा। और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे, सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे। चारों जुग परताप तुम्हारा, है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा। साधु संत के तुम रखवारे,
असुर निकंदन
राम दुलारे। अष्ट सिद्धि नवनिधि के दाता, असबर दीन जानकी माता। राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा, सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा। तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावे, जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे। अंत काल रघुबर पुर जाई, जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई। और देवता चेतन धरई, हनुमत से ही सर्व सुख करई। संकट कटई मिटै सब पीरा, जो सुमिरै हनुमत बलवीरा। जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई, कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई। जो शत बार पाठ कर कोई, छूटहि बंधि महासुख होई। जो यह पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा,
होय सिद्धि
साखी गौरी सा। तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा, की जय नाथ हृदय महडेरा। पवन तनय संकट हरन, मंगल मूर्ति रूप। राम लखन सीता सहित, हृदय बसहु सुर भूप। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। उमापति महादेव की जय, बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय। श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। Whenever we hear any story in our Purana, it has three different facets to it. One facet is the historical facet, which we call as itihasa. This is how it happened in the past. For example, if you take Devatas and Asuras coming together to churn the Milky Ocean. Now this is one thing which happened long, long ago in a place. So it is the historic facets to that story of Devatas and Asuras coming together. Although it happened at that time, the symbolism of that story is so deep, even today, in the world outside we will see there are Devatas and then there are Asuras who are always at battle with each other. Devatas and Asuras are fighting in the form of good values and not so good values. That which is ancient but still new is called as Purana. Pura api navaiti. No doubt the story is old, but the relevance of the story, symbolism of the story is very new. The first layer was historic layer, historic facet. The second facet is, in today's world outside we will see good and bad, Devatas and Asuras churning, one project to get it done. What becomes more relevant is when we notice the same tendencies within us. Just like there are good things and not so good things at a battle outside, inside our mind also there are good values. And then there are vices. Values represented by Devatas, vices represented by Asuras. That tendency in us which pushes us out towards sense objects. That person is an Asura. Or that thought is Asuri Vritti. See, Asura means what comes to our mind first? Pair of horns, having some kind of a fearful appearance. That is only the Puranic meaning, the first layer. Bhagavan Shankaracharya said, Asura is the one who revels in sense organs. Asushu ramante iti asuraha. Suddenly you realize, there is an Asura sitting right here. Where am I going to fight with? Outside Asura. This was the difference between the thought process of our rishis in the East and everybody else. They said enemy is not outside, enemy is sitting inside. The purpose of whatever battles we fight outside is to conquer our inner enemies. If it happens that we have conquered many things outside, but inner enemies are safely sitting inside, he says that battle is not complete yet. It's only a matter of time that these Asuras will again rise and give lot of sorrow to this person. The point was, Devatas, Asuras fighting, simple story. But you see so many different facets to it. First one was historic. Second is in the context of the world outside. Even in today's time, same thing is happening. And the most important one is the Adhyatmic facet. When we look inside, we find it's the same battle going on within. Hanuman Chalisa, whichever episode we are seeing, whichever story we are seeing, we should appreciate from all three facets. Sukshma Rupa Dhari Siyahi Dikhava, Bikata Rupa Dhari Lanka Jarava. Hanumanji became small, went in front of Sitaji. Hanumanji became big, burnt entire Lanka. Now if you appreciate only the historic meaning, only 1/3 knowledge we have gained. That thing happened in some yuga. And the story was very nice. Hanumanji became big, Hanumanji became small. But what do I do today? You see, in today's world also you see outside, you'll find so many people, they know when to put their foot down and when to take the back seat. All in management seminars, that is how they emphasize, right? Is this person flexible, coachable? Wherever he is put, can he blend with the team? That is the sign of Sukshma Rupa. Not a sign of weakness, but work becomes more important than his individual preferences. My favorite example for this is, which color should be the cover page of our report? One group will say blue, another will say green. Now you hold on to it. That time you should remember, where should I take Sukshma Rupa? Where should I take Bikata Rupa? So the person who is able to do that, that person is understanding the other meanings of this verse, which is observing these things in the world outside, at the same time appreciating it in one's own self. So Adhyatmic meaning will be with our mind. The second layer of meaning is world outside. Third one is the historic meaning. This is how it happened in the past. Hanumanji became big, Hanumanji became small. Now this we should be able to appreciate for different prasangas. Not only the story part, but the implied meaning also. Okay? So we had seen this verse, Sukshma Rupa Dhari Siyahi Dikhava. Next one. Bhima Rupa Dhari Asura Samhare. Bhima Rupa Dhari Asura Samhare. Ramachandra ke kaaj samhare. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Rama. 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 Hanumanji, he can take Bhima Rupa also and finish all Rakshasas. Just like in Ashok Vatika. He said, Sita ji, don't worry about any of these Rakshasas, none of them is my match. Another meaning of Bhima Rupa is when he meets Bhima. In Mahabharata, the character who stayed from Ramayana is Hanumanji. Who else stayed? Parshuramji. Also you see Jambavanji. Jambavanji also. Srimad Bhagavatam story comes, right? Syamantakamani, when he steals it, he meets Jambavanji there. Bhagavan Krishna meets. But here let us focus on Hanumanji. Draupadi wanted one flower. Ketaki, right? That was the name of the flower, whichever flower. Very fragrant, very rare. She said, for my puja, I want only that flower. Bhima said, that's all. I'll go get it just in a minute. I know the fragrance from where it is coming. I'll go and get it. He goes with all his strength, all his might. In between, he sees an old monkey lying down with his tail. Somebody who has too much pride, they don't like people obstructing their path. Now, do you think there was no other way for Bhima to go? Or how big that tail must be? He could have just gone over it. He said, if I have come, how can somebody keep tail in between? He said, move that tail. This old monkey said, I'm very old. I cannot move it. Why don't you just move it? Put it on the side. Bhima goes with all his pride. Sometimes when you miscalculate weight, it is the most hilarious thing. It happens with children, You say, oh, small boy, you go and try to lift it. Doesn't come up only. He says that is this Bhima goes with lot of strength. He says such a small tail, I can just blow it aside. But then he tries different strength poses, nothing works. It is said Bhima was skilled in Gada Yuddha. That's why Yudhishthira did not allow him to touch bow and arrow. Hey, whatever is your forte, do that. Duryodhana and Bhima, they were equal match. Gada Yuddha, both of them. So all poses he knew how to lift weight. Jarasandha, that's how he splits him apart and throws him. So imagine his power. And he goes, nothing happens. Once, twice, thrice. Very quickly he realizes this is not ordinary monkey. His pride is broken right there, and he surrenders to Hanumanji, who then blesses him. He says, you have good strength, which is also Bhagwan's blessings. But what I want from you is your pride. That you should not have. So to break that pride, Hanumanji does this Leela. Bhima Rupa Dhari Asura Samhare, the meaning of that word Asura is Ahankara. Whenever we get pride of any ability, Bhagwan makes sure that he humbles us by bringing us down in that same ability. You see so many prasangas, whenever they were unable to lift weight, the symbolic meaning is the same. One example is Dhanush Bhanga Prasanga during the Swayamvara of Sitaji and Bhagwan Rama. That Shiva Dhanush which was there, Sitaji had effortlessly lifted it once to clean where it was kept. Janak Maharaj saw this. He said, nobody can lift the Shiva Dhanush, and if my daughter can lift it, the one who marries her has to be somebody divine. And the one who can do it has to be Lord of the universe. That's why he puts that criteria. But so many kings had a lot of pride about their ability, about their strength. And they could not move that bow even an inch. Bhagwan says, if you cannot move it even an inch, let go of your pride. Another prasanga is Kenopanishad, when Devatas become proud of their strength. Agni Devata says, I can burn whatever is there in this world. Vayu Bhagwan says, I can blow away whatever is there in this world. Then Bhagwan keeps blade of grass. Try to burn this blade of grass. Try to burn this. Try to blow away this blade of grass. And Gurudev dramatizes, It was morning time. Blade of grass had a dewdrop. Even that dewdrop did not evaporate. And Agni Devata blowing all his energy he is investing, nothing is happening. Those who attend Kenopanishad class, we went through this prasanga elaborately. And Bhagwan Shankaracharya writes, the Yaksha, Bhagwan tells all the Devatas, if you cannot burn this blade of grass, let go of your pride. You have been given this ability by the Lord, it can be taken away by the Lord. The day we realize this, he says we'll become very grounded in our abilities. I remember when we were studying, when Swamini Amma came to do one pravachan, very senior Swamini Amma, probably in her 80s. She started the pravachan, but 5 minutes into the pravachan, she forgot. What she should say next, she forgot. And she was again and again going back to one point, and we were helping her to bring back what she wanted to say. And we were suggesting also, Amma, did you mean this? Did you mean that? This went on for 40 minutes. We were prompting, she was saying, no, it will come, it will come. And then finally we chanted Hanuman Chalisa, concluded. All of us were feeling bad also, that she wanted to speak and she forgot what she wanted. We also could not help. We went to do pranams. She said, don't worry, don't feel bad. Whatever purpose my memory had to serve, it has already served. That day we realized what kind of a futile pride it is to have pride about our intellect also. It is given to us by the Lord, it fades away, it can be taken away by the Lord. Yes, smruti jnanam apohanam cha. Smruti means recollection. Jnanam means knowledge. Apohanam means forgetfulness. All three are under the grace of the Lord only. He says, don't be proud of anything. If it is given, use it well. And remember the one who has given it. So whenever you see this prasanga, where somebody is unable to lift something, even though being strong. So another example is Angadji putting his foot down. And you know what he says there, right? He says, if anybody can move my foot, we will keep Sitaji here, all of us will go back. Bhagavan says, who told you to give such promises? You go on your behalf and give such promises. Angadji says, Bhagavan, this I did with your strength only. Ravana, who was so proud, I wanted to make him understand that this strength belongs to the Lord. So nobody could move his foot. And when Ravana comes to move it, he says, why are you holding on to my foot? Hold on to Bhagavan, you will get moksha. So that is one prasanga. Even in Ramayana we see when Lakshmanji is unconscious. Next Chaupayi is that actually. Meghanath wants to lift Lakshmanji and take him as a souvenir to Ravana. You see, Bhagwan Rama's brother, I made him unconscious. And our Meghanath is not able to lift Lakshmanji even a little bit from the ground. And Hanumanji comes, just casually lifts him, puts him on his shoulder and takes him to Bhagwan Rama. There Goswamiji writes, this is how Bhagwan breaks the pride of a devotee. Meghanath was also an upasaka, huh? Devi upasaka he was. But all tamasic kind of upasana he would do. That is this Chaupayi, Bhima Rupadhari Asura Samhare. Ramachandra ke Kaja Samhare. Hanumanji takes care of the work of Bhagwan Rama. Trusted aid, right hand of Bhagwan Rama is our Hanumanji. Later there will be a Chaupayi, if you have to enter the court of Bhagwan Rama, the gatekeeper is Hanumanji. If you are friend with the gatekeeper, your access to the main person is easy. So Ramachandra ke Kaja Samhare. But the symbolic meaning to look at it is, wherever ahankara rises, there Bhagwan will make sure our ahankara is removed. All of us will have our own stories to tell, huh? How our pride has been broken, different places. The one that I remember is, for myself I will share. Sometimes when you memorize verses, some thought comes, oh, I can remember. And in one place, I was doing pravachan, and I forgot Sahana Bhavatu. So whenever our youngsters forget Sahana Bhavatu, I have a lot of sympathy for them. I know how it feels. It is not that you really forgot, but just in that moment you are thinking something, what you have to speak, and same line you said twice, Sahana Bhavatu. Then we should remember, whatever pride has come, surgery is going on inside. Ahankara, removal surgery, minus anesthesia. When it will come, you never know. Sometimes it will happen in full court, or it will happen quietly. This point you were seeing in Ramcharitmanas, I think. Generally we talk about sapaltakaras, secret of success. There is also something called as asapaltakaras, secret of failure. Whenever repetitive success comes, it gives rise to pride, gives rise to mother. This person feels, what do they call it? Midas touch. Whatever I touch will become gold. In between, Bhagwan brings Lohamani, iron piece, No matter what you do, it will just remain like that. That is a reminder for us, real controller is the Lord. If something works, that is His glory. If something doesn't work, that is our remembrance of the Lord. This is all Bhagwan does. Ramachandra ke kaja samhare. Hanumanji accomplishes this work for Bhagwan. Next prasanga is our Lakshmanji. How Hanumanji saved Lakshmanji's life. Laya Sanjeevani lakhan ji aaye. Shri Raghubir harashi uralaye. Laya Sanjeevani lakhan ji aaye. Shri Raghubir harashi uralaye. Shri Ram Jaya Jaya Rama. Shri Ram Jaya Jaya Rama. This is in Lanka Kanda. Battle is going on between Bhagwan Rama and Ravana. The chief commander goes last. He sends one warriors in the beginning, then finally he will go. Otherwise, first only he goes and he is finished. What will other people do? So Bhagwan Rama sends his warriors, Ravana sends his warriors. Ravana's son's name was Akshay Kumar. Akshay Kumar. Akshay Kumar is finished. All main warriors are falling down. Then Ravana says, now I have to do something. Kumbhakarna is also gone. He calls his son Indrajit, whose other name is Meghanath. Indrajit means one who has conquered Indra also. Indrajit says, Father, you don't worry. These warriors are very tiny. I will take care of all of them. I have Maya power. Bhagwan Rama sends Lakshmanji from his side to fight Meghanath. Generally, there are rules of war, how you should fight. If you read Mahabharata, the dispensary for both the armies was common. End of the day, if horses are wounded from Kaurava's side, doctor is from Pandava's side, they should come and treat. Vice versa also. And after sunset, you cannot fight the battle. All these rules were followed until Dronacharya. After that, everything was broken. They just started fighting whatever time. So there are rules of war also. But Meghanath was a Mayavi. He would send the arrow and disappear. Now where will you aim? He is not there, From where the arrow came, he is not there. He will appear somewhere else. And arrows also had names. If there is Parvatastra from one side, other side there will be Vajrastra. Parvatastra means arrow that becomes as a mountain. Vajrastra means arrow which is like a thunderbolt. So it will come and cut this mountain. Do you remember something? Ramanand Sagarji's serial, those two arrows will come, and then suddenly. So one arrow is called as Agnyastra, fire arrow. Other side is water. Varunastra. That will come. So fire is countered by water. Now remember, fire arrow is sent by one party. Varunastra is sent by other army. But in case of Meghanath, both would come from one side. if he sends one arrow, from top it will rain fire, and from down it will be water. Means everybody was thoroughly confused. What is going on? Hanumanji was enjoying. No Maya touched Hanumanji. And Bhagwan also, it is said, whenever Meghanath would do all this Maya, he would cut it just with one arrow. Mayapati he is. Meghanath is using Maya on the Lord under whom Maya functions. And it is said, Hanumanji, he also saw Mahabharata war. He was sitting on the flag of Arjuna. What is Arjuna's chariot called as? Kapidhwaja. Kapi means monkey. The one who has flag as a monkey is Kapidhwaja. He listened to Bhagavad Gita also. Bhagwan was not happy with him. He said, if you are a student, you should sit down and listen. Not on top of the teacher, quietly listening. Then he comes down and Bhagwan just asks him, so how was Mahabharata war? He said, very boring. Everybody following rules. Karna sends one arrow, Arjuna sends another arrow. He said, you should have seen Rama Ravana Yuddha. So much Maya happened. Without any weapons we fought. Monkeys, you think they know how to hold bow and arrow? They just fought with boulders, trees. If you are doing Ramcharitmanas Parayanam, Lanka Kanda is the most exciting part for kids. All action happens there. Then after Ravana is gone, Uttarakanda is very dry. Very, very quiet. Now the symbolic meaning. Meghanath represents desire. Goswamiji writes, Moha Dasanana. Ravana represents Moha, delusion. And the son of delusion is desire. His name is Meghanath, means one who roars like the thunder, like the clouds. And when he roars, all devatas run away. And you see inside what happens when desire roars. All good qualities which are there, they as though run away. Then he sends this arrow. One side there is fire, another side there is water. Where did fire come from? Top or down? Top. Where did water come from? Ground. Fire represents dvesha, water represents raga. When the arrow of desire hits a person, we cannot avoid these two pairs of opposites. Raga will be towards those things which are very close to us. That's why that water is very near. Whatever things we have attachment towards, that we want to keep close. And wherever we are having dvesha, hatred, that thing we want to keep far. So that fire is from top. Raga dvesha, this is that arrow of Meghanath. The one who will fight Meghanath is Lakshmanji, who is Vairagya. That mind which is having lot of dispassion, that mind which cannot come under the sway of desire. Not to say that it doesn't get hit. It will get hit. But that power is not so strong to finish it completely. Bhagwan says in 5th chapter, while living in this body, if we can handle the storm of desire and anger, that person is liberated while living. He doesn't say storm will not come. Both storms will come. Storm of desire, storm of anger. But it should not be so powerful like Trunavarta to lift everybody up. This has become heavy like Bhagwan Krishna, not allowing these two storms to lift us up. Goswamiji calls this Shakti that Meghanath sends as Veeraghatini Shakti. Veeraghatini, it's not in Hanuman Chalisa, this is in Ramcharitmanas. Veeraghatini means that which takes enthusiasm away. Whichever thing it is, desire if it comes and takes over a person, so it can cause a lot of calamities. We'll come back to it. Let's see the story part now. Who are fighting? Meghanath and Lakshmanji. Meghanath sends this arrow by which Lakshmanji becomes unconscious. Now when Lakshmanji is unconscious, Meghanath again wants to lift Lakshmanji and take him back. He just can't. Hanumanji comes, very easily lifts. And we should remember, Lakshmanji is avatara of Adishesha Bhagwan. Goswamiji writes, Chaupayi, he says, look at the foolishness of Meghanath. That Lord, who is the substratum of the whole universe, on whose head the whole Brahmanda is supported, that Bhagwan he wants to lift and just take him as any ordinary person. So our Hanumanji, he brings him back. And Bhagwan Rama had a very trusted advisor. That was our Vibhishanji. Knew all the details of the enemy's camp, knew precisely what is where. And Bhagwan had done things in such a way that he had gained the trust of Vibhishanji. In the beginning, when Vibhishanji just comes, it's probably few days. All of them are on the banks of that ocean. Bhagwan Rama asks Vibhishanji, what should we do? Sugriva doesn't like it. Say, Bhagwan, you are our master. You are the Lord of the universe. Why are you asking this newcomer? He has just joined our team. You are giving him too much importance than he deserves. Then he asks Lakshmanji. Lakshmanji says, Bhagwan, is this even a question to ask? Just take out your bow and arrow, dry up the whole ocean. Why do we need to ask anybody? He says, no, let us ask. Vibhishanji says, Bhagwan, let us sit down and do prayer for 3 days. Let us pray to Samudra Devata. Let us see what happens. 3 days Bhagwan sits, nothing happens. Then he takes out one arrow, aims it at Samudra Devata with lot of anger. And he says, my arrow is Amogha Bana. Once it sets a target, it will go accomplish its work. Then Samudra Devata comes, folded hands, lot of gems, jewels. That is called as Tamasik Sharanagati. Hanumanji is Satvik Sharanagati. Vibhishanji is Rajasic Sharanagati. Samudra Devata is Tamasik Sharanagati. He came to shelter, but it needed that beating. And he comes and blames Bhagwan only. He says, Bhagwan, you only have given us different duties to do. Different bounds you have set. I was just following my rules. Ocean should remain like this. Who decides? So you only have decided. Now you decide what you want to do. I have nothing to say. That's why it took this much time. We need some kind of push sometimes, nudge, to come on this path. Many people share this, Unless you ask 5 times, why are you not coming to class? Why are you not coming to class? They say it's very hard for us to start coming. Like that, the Samudra Devata says, Bhagwan, we are grateful that you showed us this, but please don't dry me up like this. Then Bhagwan says, but that's not possible now. Once my arrow is set, it has to reach its destination. Arrow is called as astra. And if you have multiple arrows together, it is called as alaya. Alaya means wherever there is a collection of things. If there is knowledge, vidya, collection of knowledge is called as vidyalaya. If there is pustaka, books are there. Collection of books is called as pustakalaya. If there is astra, collection of astra is Astralaya, also called as Australia. So that aim of Bhagavan from the ocean, wherever he sent the arrow, he said that place got this name. Don't go by history, huh? This is just by the way, on this side. Don't go and check Valmiki Ramayana and say different name. That was the Sharanagati of Samudra Devata. But the main point was, Vibhishanji became very trusted person of Bhagwan Rama. Now this is his leadership quality. Huh? If somebody new has come, if you always dismiss that person's opinion, very quickly that person will lose enthusiasm. Either he will feel, I'm not valued here, or he will feel the thought of self-doubt. He'll say, oh, I said this, last time they shot me down. I don't know if I have to say it again. But Bhagavan is master leader. He said, Vibhishanji, we want on our side. Once he is yours, he said he will give the right advice in Lanka. Now same Vibhishanji, he says, the Surgeon General of Lanka is very good. Every country has Surgeon General, right? Like that Lanka also had. What was his name? Sushena Vaidya. But it is, as we saw before, doctors, they don't have boundaries. Nothing to do about enemy's camp or their own camp. He said whoever needs help, they should treat. And Vibhishanji knew this. He said Sushena is very, very firm in his convictions. If you ask his help, he will give. But the challenge was, Hanumanji was concerned. If I just bring Sushena, tomorrow Ravana might go to him and punish him. He might say, you are on my camp and you formed some kind of under the table alliance with our enemy. You went and helped them. No matter how much you would try to convince, he knew Ravana. So Hanumanji said, let us avoid that whole situation. Let me lift his home only and bring. You all know that story, right? Sushena's home only he lifts. Here we have numbers, right? 1905, 1906. You go for a walk and suddenly you see empty space in between. That was Sushena's house, suddenly disappeared. Now he came to Lakshmanji and he said, before the sun rays hit, we have to bring this herb from Himalayas. It is called as Sanjivani. The moment sun rays hit Lakshmanji the next day, he said that will be his end. So there is a deadline also. Within one day, you have to go and bring it. And it is not somewhere next door. On the other side of the country. Remember, they are in Lanka and Sanjeevani is available in Himalayas. Hanumanji says, even before anybody can tell him, in other Ramayanas it is said, if there is hot oil and you put mustard seeds, time it takes to crackle, in that time I will go and come. I mean, that is his enthusiasm. Rama kaja kari beko atura. What about the distance? That you don't worry. What about direction? Is that also you don't worry. I will go and bring in that short time. So Hanumanji goes, let us make him reach there very quickly. Right now he is in front of that mountain in the Himalayas. But see, he did not know anything about herbs. That is not his forte, that is not his department. And suddenly he is told to bring that Sanjeevani from that mountain. Every herb looks like Sanjeevani. And if he brings the wrong herb from that much distance, no second chance also. So he says, let us take no chances, lifts the entire mountain and brings it. We should take darshan of Hanumanji in different forms. Huh? This is one of his form. Many pictures also you must have seen. Along with that mountain he is coming. On the way back, he flies above Ayodhya. And this was midnight. At that odd hour, Bharatji is waiting outside, taking care of Ayodhya. He says, Bhagwan Rama has not come, and who is this person going up in the air along with this mountain? And Bharatji also was very powerful. He sends an arrow without a tip, pointless arrow. He sends to Hanumanji, and that is so powerful, it brings Hanumanji down and he is unconscious. Now this story, if you tell in Balvihar, they'll have a major question. Burning question. What happened to that mountain? He was carrying the mountain. You said only Hanumanji came down. What happened to that mountain? Goswamiji says, Pavan Devata held that mountain in the air. He says, my son is going on a mission. At least this much I can do. Through wind, he held that mountain up. Okay, now I am convinced. Then Bharatji feels very bad. He says, devotee of my Bhagwan was on the way to accomplish his work, and I unnecessarily became an obstacle. And he says, if my love for Bhagwan Rama is true, may Hanumanji wake up again. Just as he says this, Hanumanji wakes up, and then he says his story, short Ramakatha. He doesn't have time now for elongate, longer version of Ramakatha. He says very little. Rama Nama sings his glory. Then Bharatji, he says, if you go at this pace, you are never going to reach Lanka. Your speed is such, tomorrow morning you have your deadline, you will not reach Lanka at this pace. You sit on my arrow, and I will make you reach Lanka directly. Hanumanji has a doubt. He says, I did all this thing, I went all the way, brought this Sanjeevani. Now I have to sit on an arrow to reach Lanka? But somewhere he says, this is my Bhagwan's instruction. Bhagwan's own brother is telling this, Bharatji. So I just have to follow it. Then our Hanumanji sits on that arrow. Bharatji directly sends him to Lanka, along with that mountain. That arrow of Bharatji represents the thought of an upasaka. When we have to think about the Lord as a sadhaka, our mind hits 15 different objects and then reaches Bhagwan. But upasaka is somebody whose mind is so tuned. Whenever he wants to think about the Lord, that arrow straight reaches Bhagwan. So Hanumanji brings that Sanjeevani. Sushena takes that Sanjeevani, applies it on Lakshmanji, and then Lakshmanji is revived back again. Laya Sajivana Lakhana Jiyaye, Shri Raghubira Harashi Uralaye. Bhagwan embraces Hanumanji. He says, there is no material thing I can give you. It will be an insult if I give something which is an object. So the best thing I can give is me myself. We saw two types of devotion. One devotion is Markatavat. Markatavat means baby monkey holding on to mother monkey. Never knows when hand will slip, when it will come down. Again it will hold on to. Second devotion is Marjari Bhakti, where the mother cat is holding on to the kitten. There it can let its hand go free, because it knows no matter what happens, Bhagavan will never let go. In the example, that little kitten feels, mother will take care of me. Why should I worry so much? Like that, this devotee has assurance, if Bhagavan has held on to me, there is no way any harm can come to me. That is the symbolic meaning of the embrace of Bhagavan. Now, what is the symbolic meaning of Sanjeevani? What was the arrow called as? The one that Meghanath sent? Veeraghatini Shakti. Veeraghatini means that power which takes our enthusiasm away, our strength away, will make us very weak from inside. That Shakti is Veeraghatini Shakti. And karma phalas are like that. Different experiences which come in our life, they are sometimes so powerful, it will take away all our enthusiasm. Right at that time, what we need is that Sanjeevani herb. And that Sanjeevani is the rich perspectives from our scriptures. You read Bhagavad Gita, read Upanishads, we will feel there is some message which precisely is telling me how I should act at this particular moment. But only catch is, I will not know where that Sanjeevani is unless I do thorough Shravanam. That is why Hanumanji says, lift that whole mountain. One herb will not do. Bring that whole mountain. In that you will find one Sanjeevani which is for you. This I have always found, when you listen to Gurudev's talks or you have the Bhagavad Gita book, Holy Gita, if you read that page, if you read those verses, somewhere you will find, how did he read my mind? Means what I was seeking, that same thing is coming through that particular satsang. That is our Sanjeevani. But to get that one Sanjeevani, you will have to listen to 5 discourses. That is when we know where different perspectives are and which one will appeal to us at a given time. Otherwise, what happens is, we do partial Shravanam and we expect all our questions to be answered in that partial Shravanam. Meaning, if you come to one class and you have 20 questions, what is our hope? All 20 questions should be answered in that one class. Yeah, that will not happen. It needs a sustained study by which we can go and absorb ourselves in this teaching. So one Sanjeevani is what we need, the right perspective, to bring us out of that state of as though we are unconscious. Mind being unconscious with that experience. But it needs Ghanghora Shravanam. Ghanghora Shravanam means torrential rain, as though. If you want good crops, sporadic rain doesn't do. Now it rains, after 2 months, little bit more, drizzles in between. I say it will not bring crops. Like that, if you want ideas to take roots, it is not sudden enthusiasm, it's a sustained opening of our inner self. That's why Gurudev's book, one title is Self-Unfoldment. Means you have to do it systematically. It is not self-explosion. Suddenly you get inspired, some idea comes. So that is this Sanjeevani, which is gained through Shravanam. Next set of Chaupayis is also beautiful. It's on praise, stuti. What all things praise can do. But we'll pause here because we have a time constraint. So next session will continue. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.